What are some of the misconceptions that people have about those who are now de-radicalized? And I know you've had to deal with some of that yourself, with some of the skepticism. So I'm just curious if you can elaborate on that a little bit.
There's folks that will say, well, if someone's out of the movement, they should be on the other side. I personally think that's a bad idea. What we do as far as our trajectory on getting people out, we don't have expectations for them to be anywhere specific politically. Being nonpartisan, as we all are, as Rand is, as Beyond Barriers is incredibly important. Of course, everybody has their own personal political beliefs. That's fine. But we want people out of extremist groups. So I hear sometimes people will say, well, if someone leaves the NSM or the Klan or a far right, extreme far right organization, they should join Antifa on the other side. To me, that's someone that's flipped from one form of extremism to the other. They're now on a far left extreme. That is not a de-radicalized person. That's somebody that's just switched their form of extremism. So we want people to be either on the right or the left. And when I say right or left, I mean moderate, right, left, somewhere in the middle. Don't be on the extremes. So when you have someone that's leaving, say, the far right, quite often that person remains kind of politically on the conservative side. Not always, but you shouldn't expect them to flip way to the other side. In fact, that's actually a dangerous factor, and vice versa. If someone's coming out of the extreme far left, they're going to probably remain somewhere over on the left, and that's fine. It doesn't matter where they're at as long as they're not on those extremes. So I think that's one of the biggest misconceptions. And of course, as a former extremist, there's always going to be people out there that criticize those of us that are out, that have their skepticism and stuff. And from a personal standpoint, I could say it's very upsetting or annoying. They don't understand what it takes to have gotten that, that far. But from a realistic standpoint and from a humanistic approach, I understand the skepticism. And I was on the outside looking in and say, look, this guy was involved all these years. I might be looking at him a little skeptically too. So I understand it. But when you have people out here that are doing the work, that have done the work, that are trying to make a difference, I personally think the worst thing you can do is try to kick that person down or discourage it, because we need, there's most of the people that leave don't speak out like those of us that do. And you mentioned Chris Buckley as well. And there's a number of others that speak out, and those people that are doing that work are so incredibly important, because we walked that path before. We understand it. We've been there. So there's that commonality. Like when you have an alcoholic that's leaving alcoholism and he's going to AA, and there's somebody up there talking that's never been an alcoholic, they don't have that commonality. People that have walked in and out of the movement, they have that commonality with us as well. So there's ways that we're able to reach them or identify with them with support of other community activist organizations, mental health professionals, et cetera, et cetera. I mean, we're all working together, but it's incredibly important, the work that we're doing.